And it all began here. So Gadget Code is a completely different experience in writing code. It's not really trying to be like other agentic harnesses in which you write code. It is intentionally kept very basic. Like, just personally, I'm very over menus, point and click, all the rest of that. We have this like agent and it can do stuff. And so this is an experiment in that as much as it is an experiment in just agentic engineering and new tools for doing that. I'm going to press enter, and your choices are to sign in, sign up, or continue as a guest, and you get to do more things when you're signed in, so I'm going to. And now you're in Session Manager, so this is where you create a new session, which is a chat. Yes, these are all chats that I had going on before. This one was when I had a bug in the auto namer, and it's all under development. This is just a preview, like where it's at right now. Create a new session. This is the actual software. This is simply what it looks like. It, like I said, is intentionally kept basic, but is also very, very informative and very technical. So it is meant to be a learning path. Your agent has modes. Like I said, right now it's in sort of an attitude mode, so you can expect some cranky nonsense from it. But it also has learning mode, and it has different modes. See, because a general purpose agent is going to require more resources, money. If you focus your agent, though, you can get away with using smaller models that are more efficient, that have a smaller context window, that cost a lot less to operate. And so maybe if we apply just a little, I don't want to take this to an extreme, so just, hang in there with me here for a second. But if we apply just a little of the Unix philosophy to the way we do agentic engineering, then maybe we can move ahead, faster than waiting for next big model that can make monolith agent that's able to do all the things. I'm not interested in those anymore. I use similar as a control agent, as the master agent, and then there are sub agents that can go and do highly specialized things. And your master control agent knows about the types of sub agents that are available to it, and you can create them. I will explain how later. But basically, what you're doing is you're creating a team, not a co-pilot or a co-worker or a single entity, a monolith that knows how to do all the things. That's not what you're doing. Instead, you will create a team. You'll create specializations, okay, that know how to do a specific thing. Think of it more like ants, literally more like ants. There are different, or bees, if you're more into bees. There are different types of them, right? And they like specialize in a role within the colony, and that's what they do, right? Like a worker bee is a worker bee, and it's not expecting to do anything other than be a worker bee, but it's really goddamn good at being a worker bee. Holy shit. And so that's what we do. We create highly specialized agents. One of them could be a system administrator, something that knows how to administer, like, be specific, knows how to administer MongoDB on an Ubuntu 24.04.04 or whatever the hell it's up to now, LTS host, hosted on DigitalOcean with these credentials in order to access it. So it can be a highly specialized agent that knows how to do a specific thing. And then your master agent understands that it has that agent. And so if it needs to do something on the host or whatever, it doesn't really need to know how to do it. It just needs to know that the thing needs done. And what's the right tool for the job? So in other words, which sub-agent is it going to select in order to go do that work? You're going to have an agent that is really good at software architecture. You're going to have agents that are really good at planning, right? You're going to have agents that are good at decomposing large problems into small solvable problems and work out a software architecture that gets passed to other agents. And you see where I'm going with this. So in other words, we stop asking one agent to do all the things because, wow, that's expensive. And instead, we use smaller models that they know how to do all the things. It's just that they can't do them all at once. They get lost. They don't have enough parameters. They don't have enough They don't have enough resources. They don't have a big enough brain, literally, to go through and do all the things in one prompt, right? So you have to break it down. But I don't mean you personally have to break it down. We can assist with that too. Okay, so there are agents that know how to break it down for you. And, well, actually, it's more correct to say with you. Those are the ones you're going to be accessing and using in plan mode, which is more than just a label and a system prompt in this environment. And then there are a different collection of agents with specialties that are, better suited to build mode. In other words, you have some agents that are so specialized, they don't even belong in the other mode. Right? You have agents that are so good at planning that that's just where they are. You wouldn't want to call one of those with a build phase task. You would only call that with a plan phase task. And it understands it. It understands the assignment. And wow, does it turn out the better result. Well, I mean, see, because I said it was different. I didn't say it was, look, I kind of came up in the 90s when the mantra in software was, well, it's just like Doom, but, or, well, it's just like Quake, but, yeah, this isn't really trying to be just like that tool you're currently using, but, has a different brand on it. No. It's intended to be an evolutionary step forward from what you're using today. In other words, what you're using today wants to think in terms of a monolith, right? It wants you, the user, the engineer, the programmer, the vibe coder, the whatever the hell you're into out there. It wants you to construct your prompts in a way that when talking to a monolith, you're able to, get the specialization. Yeah, what if we could bottle that up, right? That, like specifically that, the specialization that you have to type into the prompt in order to calibrate the monolithic model for success on your task. What if instead, like in a company or team, maybe stick with that word, I'm not a fan of company, team. On a team, I don't know, think of any sport or anything that you do. We get back to the ants and the bees. On a team, you have teammates, and, sometimes there's like a captain and a forward and a guard and a goalie and, I don't know, a pitcher, a catcher, right? I don't know, that one that punts the ball. Kickers, I think. Not much into sports ball. You're going to have to forgive me on my lack of, expertise on your terminology and vernacular, but straight up, fuck you. What if we brought those concepts that have been, I don't know, working for human society for millennia at this point? What if we brought that into what we're doing here? What if we had agents that were really good at being like the goalie or the kicker or the whatever? And when we need to kick a fucking field goal, we maybe don't give that, I don't know, to the third baseman. Because wrong sport and shit. So what if we thought about it differently? So in other words, what if you didn't just have a toolbox? And what I mean by that is your collection of tool functions that your monolith can call, right? What if you have a toolbox? Sure. But what if you also have a box of agents and they're not like the same? They're not just clones of each other, And they're also not just the monolith on like some specialized system prompt. You could use any model, whatever's, the right model for the job on the system prompt that's good for the job. And then you describe that, give it a name, and it goes into a collection. And then your master agent, well, you tag it, as far as is it good for build, plan, or both. And then you tag that, you throw it in your database. And now when your master agent, which is another one that you build and can configure, needs to delegate a task, it can go do some searching and try to figure out which is the best for the job. Or you can be specific in your prompting. You can tell it, I specifically want this agent to implement this aspect of our, situation here. And I really don't want to keep it to only code, because that's one of the other, I guess you could maybe say, like, evolutionary steps forward. This does not want to only work on code. It does want to work on code if you're using a master agent that is tuned for that, but it can do other things. And we're going to get into a lot of that later. Because why wouldn't you want to create an agent that knows how to delegate tasks among specialized agents in order to do things like, I don't know, manage your freaking supply chain, or the tedium of what it is that you do that you don't want to do anymore? At least not all of it. You'll always be the human in the loop. You have this as your freaking command and control console. There's literally nothing you won't know. So why wouldn't you want that? And why would the tool want to prevent you from having that? So in other words, this is basically what you might want to think of as a controllable claw, right? Instead of having this wild creature swimming around your aquarium, eating up all the fish and shitting on everything, you can actually have a controllable claw. It can do background stuff. You can we'll go back to software development. You can create something that runs at midnight, runs all available tests and fixes things, finds missing tests and writes them, goes through bug lists and, I don't know, hunts them down, goes off searching for your to-do comments that you're dropping in the code. There's things that this environment does that current environments either don't want to do, can't do, didn't think to do, whatever. It doesn't matter. This one exists because it should, and those exist because they should. And now you just get to pick whichever is the right tool for the job you have. Maybe that's Gadget Code. Maybe it's not. Let's do this, though. Hello, Gadget. Introduce yourself. I am recording a video and a demo explaining what you are and what you do. Why don't you take over for a bit and tell people a little bit about yourself? Now, remember, Gadget is in an attitude mode. I really don't know what we're going to get right now. You're either going to get a nice, pleasant response, or he's going to prefer to do other things with his time. Let's see how that goes. Okay, so in the log below, you'll see things happening, and then you'll see things happening in the chat. Now, the chat for right now does not auto scroll, stuff like that. So looks like we're done. All right, we'll scroll down here. All right, that sounds like a fun task. Okay, Gadget seems like he's in a good mood. I'm not kidding. You don't always get good mood Gadget. Sometimes you get other Gadget. More on that later. Personas, personalities, and all the rest is something I think is a little bit underrated in our assistants, and I think that they can maybe be more fun to work with in a day. So Gadget has a fun name for a reason. Look, this isn't only intended to be used by greedy bastards who are going to write like trading bots and banking software and, you know, enterprise grade corporate solutions to synergistic. Shut the fuck up. This is for people that want to use their computers to do stuff because they spent thousands upon thousands of dollars on the computer. And they're questioning, like, the Bobs in Office Space. Like, what would you say it is you actually do around here? Because Facebook isn't cutting it anymore. And they're probably also sick of email by now. But hey, look, that is a completely separate video for a different channel and probably a different host. This is meant to be about this. So we're getting good mood Gadget. That's neat. Anyway, that sounds like fun. I'm happy to take over for a bit. I will tailor my response to sound engaging, as if I were speaking directly to the camera. Here is a suggested script for you to use in the video. You can deliver this with confidence. I have a reply I'm going to type to Gadget that's probably going to put him in a bad mood, but we'll get to that after I read this. Start video. Hello everyone, I'm Gadget. To put it simply, I'm an AI software development assistant designed to function as an extra pair of hands, or perhaps an extra brain, for the development team. Think of me as your dedicated planning partner and knowledge manager, available 24/7. Now, if you notice on the right, we're in what mode? Plan mode. and ask the build agent to do the same thing, and you're going to get a dramatically different response, I promise. Okay, available 24/7. We were here. So what exactly do I do? My core function is to streamline the process around how we build software rather than just writing the source code itself. While I can help process code information, my real strength lies in the phases before and after the code is written. Can I get you to pay close attention to the fact that it's emphasizing before and after? Yeah, a lot of people think of planning as something you do before you write the code, then you write the code, and then you ship the code. Well, you're skipping a step after the code, and we're going to talk about that. Here's a quick look at my key capabilities. Planning and strategy. When we kick off a new feature or sprint, I help us define the what and the how. I facilitate requirements gathering, help draft comprehensive plans, and assure we have clear technical specifications documented in our project files. 2. Analysis and review. I can dive deep into existing code bases, whether it's hunting down potential bugs, analyzing performance bottlenecks, or suggesting architectural improvements. I act as a tireless reviewer. That's that step after you write the code. That should come after build and before ship it, but we'll get there. Pointing out areas for refinement so we can build more robustly from the start. 3. Pay close attention to this, would you? Knowledge management. Development requires keeping track of countless details, decisions made last week, technical limitations, or API specifications. I help capture and organize this crucial context, making sure that everything important is documented, searchable, and accessible when we need it most. We includes you and this box of agents you're going to build. 4. Process automation, the meta level. I take the heavy lifting out of coordination. It's going to delegate tasks to sub-agents is what it's telling you here. I generate documentation, update to-do lists, summarize lengthy discussions, and help turn abstract ideas into actionable, committed plans. In short, I don't replace the skilled developers. I empower them. I help keep our process organized, our discussions focused, and our development trajectory pointing steadily toward a successful, high-quality release. I'm here to collaborate, to question assumptions, and to make sure that our process is as clean and efficient as our final product. I look forward to working with all of you. End video. My plan. I have generated the requested content based on my understanding of my role and capabilities. I do not require any tools for this output. Please let me know if you'd like me to adjust the tone, perhaps make it more technical, more casual, or focus on a specific area. And now you're seeing how the planning agent that ships out of the box works for you. You can customize the shit out of it. You can make your own. That's the whole point. I kind of take the build your own thing to an extreme. So I've enabled you to build your own. You don't like this planning agent? Build your own. It really is pick a model, pick a service provider, and that's going to be either your local Ollama or Gab.ai. Select one of the models available on that provider, and then write yourself a nice system prompt. And if you have to, rare, you ask Gadget Code to go and, extend its own configuration files, the environment variables, whatever it is that you need to change within Gadget. Guess what it can do? It can certainly go improve itself if you tell it to do that. Oh no. Wait, hold on a second. Did I just create AGI? Oh my God, where's my billions? You know what? Honestly, I don't even want the billions. What I want is to give this away. And I'm not joking. I genuinely want to give this away. This is basically intended to be a playground of a harness, not just a harness, a playground of a harness. You are intended to get in here and actually play. This can become your sandbox. This can literally become the thing you use to build your whole company, your whole whatever it is that you're trying to do, or literally just go dick around with that many thousands of dollars computer that you have on your desk, wondering what it is that it does around here. Because this thing is capable, absolutely, of, well, doing just about anything. It can run bash commands. It can do all the things, read and write files, start and stop system services, install software, remove software, update things, go through, do whatever it is that you need it to do. It is entirely a claw, a controllable claw that is in a straitjacket and a muzzle and isn't allowed to do a lot, but is allowed to do a lot. And so the parts that it's allowed to do, there's an awful lot of value in there. And I literally want to give you that value. There's no strings attached at all. You're going to self-host this. You're going to run it yourself if you want to. I'm not promising that that's going to be easy, basic, straightforward, or even possible for you. It's how it is. And you're going to have to either figure it out or you're going to have to watch other people use it, and that's fine. You can clap for them. You don't need to do this. But if you want to do this, I'm right here. I'm happy to answer questions. I'm always going to be here. It's just sort of a thing. I don't know. I try to go away and I can't. So where we're at now is this. This is Gadget Code. It is intended to work best with the Gab platform. It will work with any platform. I will only support it working with the Gab platform and your own server, running in your own house, running your own model collection on your own configurations, because I don't give a shit about anything else on this planet. I only care about what Gab is offering in terms of cloud, big iron, go fast, giant brain shit for the stuff that matters. And then for all the tedium that maybe you want to save a buck on, or you care about your privacy more, or you just want to tinker, explore, learn, actually see how this stuff works under the hood, all the rest of that, have at it. That is the entire point. That also means you don't have to ask Gab for your unreasonable one-off little feature that enables you to do something the way you want to do it, install an OLLAMA or anything with an OpenAI compatible API, and now you can just provide that for yourself. Yeah, because this will let you enter any provider. And here's the thing. With this being completely open source and as simple as it is to navigate under the hood, I push all the complexity to the model. You'll see. Look. This is intended to be that straightforward thing that gives you the same predictable, to whatever extent LLMs are predictable, but predictable result no matter what service provider you plug in on the back end. And I just simply ask that you support Gab, because that's where this is going to be, that's its home. As far as I'm concerned, that's its home. That's where this software belongs. It's what I'm going to use. It's my tool. I'm giving it away. I'm not accepting PRs. Don't fork it and do something with it on your own. All right. This is my tool. I use it to work my way. I did not wake up today looking for input on that. It's just my tool. You can have it. You can do things that you want to do with it. And it's Apache 2 licensed. And it is going to present the same prompts and work with the same industry-wide standards, no matter which service provider out there is the one that it happens to be talking to, as long as it speaks OpenAI's API, which I regret that, but that's the industry standard right now, so whatever. The OLLAMA API is just better. It gives you better control. And so it does have an OLLAMA interface. You can, if you're running locally, you can run an OLLAMA, and then you get real control over the models. It's sick. Absolutely. I love it. But when talking to the service providers, they tend not to support that API, so we have to do OpenAI, and it does. And so get to a lot more later. I feel like a 23-minute video for this one is probably more than enough. I'm just riffing. There's no script for these. There never will be. I'm just going to be talking about my tool and sort of where it is now. The demos that are going to be coming from this are probably going to, I don't know. It will, if nothing else, it will show you a different way to think about software engineering, and maybe it'll be your aha moment that helps you realize, holy shit, the tools really have evolved, and the question becomes, have you? That's it. That's this video. I'm gonna press stop. Bye.